This is Jake. As far as I am aware, he is the first person in the U.S. to put a box of bees into a bottle beehive. Unfortunately, Jake's experiment only lasted a few days before he lost all of his bees. I'm going to review Jake's videos and show you the lessons learned so that you don't have the same thing happen to you. Jake's experience with the beekeeping community was less than positive.
Went to the beekeeping communities who basically said it was terrible, awful, not well thought out.
You can overcome some of the resistance by being able to compare your bottle beehive to a Warre observation hive. Undaunted by the naysayers, Jake forged ahead. Let's watch as he gives us an overview of his system.
And so what we have is an entry point here with a clear plastic tube. This entry point is 3D printed. I'll show you more in that in a bit.
Overall, I like his indoor setup and the fact that he is using a square bottle.
To this plastic bottle. In the plastic bottle, they can come up and there is a top bar system. And I'm sure I'm going to get a lot of crap for the top bar system, but that's all right. I'm willing to try it. And this just clips in. It's 3D printed. Goes back on top here. Tomorrow I will tape up all these edges so the bees cannot get out through the edges, and they will come in.
As pointed out in an earlier video, bottle beehives should be built with the spout pointing up. Not only does this provide superior water protection, a more stable base, but it also makes more efficient use of the bottom of the bottle. In this case, it's not an issue since his beehive is indoors and rain will not be a problem.
Or something like that, pretty cheap. And all I did was cut off around here, 3D printed my model that I modeled, and put that in between the two pieces.
By cutting the bottle where he did, Jake did not leave himself an easy way to assemble the bottle. This is in part due to the bottle being spout down. Did you notice the bigger issue though? This is a 3-gallon bottle. This is a critical error since 3 gallons is simply too small for a bottle beehive. Even if the rest of the story had gone well, the bees probably would have left very shortly due to lack of space. For those of you who will be putting your beehive indoors, he does illustrate a nice entrance and proper tubing.
And then on top of that is our top bar. Got a little extra fun stuff there from when I epoxied everything, but I didn't mind it because I'm trying to give the bees something to grip to so they can walk on. And this just has kind of a H scenario that goes on top of the edge. Nothing happens here. This is just to provide structure. Top goes on. Oops. And then again, tape around everything to enclose. Here it is with the cover off. Looks like they're trying to bring out some of their dead that have accumulated from the shipping. Some more on that. Hopefully they get that cleared out. Here she is with the cover off everything. Like I said, some bees trying to figure out how to get in this way. You're gonna have a hard time. Everyone's hanging from the top bar, which is nice. And you can see the tape job, which is a little suspect. I'll have to fix that up. Disaster. We had a really hard night or two. You can see how many are dead at the bottom. And so I'm gonna have to open her up because I don't think they can even get out. There's so many dead. And see if I can't clean her out and see who's still alive. Took off the top bottle and the tape.
Ultimately, this is the root cause of the failure. Either due to inattention or inexperience, he let the temperature of his hive get too low. This is especially an issue with bottle beehives which need to be insulated for cold weather. Sadly, Jake could have avoided the loss of over a $200 package of bees by adding the $15 remote sensor that we covered in our instrumentation video. Simply by adding the sensor to his beehive, or even near it, would have given him the ability to be notified on his cell phone when the temperatures got too low. Look at all that condensation. The GoV sensor also detects humidity and could have sent an alarm for this condition as well, but this is clearly a problem of insufficient ventilation. Can you even see where the vents are?
No one going in and out. I don't think they can make it. As suspected, completely clogged with dead bees.
At this point, Jake has lost more than half of his bees. While it's highly unlikely that this hive will thrive, the number of bees remaining is more appropriate for the undersized hive that he has provided.
This is the most active the bees have been in a while. We've had pretty cold weather, so they've been sitting tight. But they're pretty active now. You can see them coming in and out of the tube. So it's working all right. See them inside the hive. Can't 100% tell if they're making comb in there or not, but I believe they are. Have this covered with a towel at night, well, and during the day to keep the light out. And then because it's been so cold, I'm providing supplemental heat, which I'm sure is a big no-no. You can see the additional, where's the other one? There's another one. There's, I think, one on each corner. Additional ventilation, so we don't have any moisture buildup. Ventilation on the bottom here. Those were there before. The top ventilations was not working because of having no gap there. After my positive update a couple days ago, less optimistic. They're all at the bottom and they have no comb built. So they are uninterested in this hive, I think is the short answer. But we're gonna try. So I added another bottle on top, printed another top bar, and rubbed comb all over it. See if maybe they want the next one. The other one I did not rub comb all over, so they might not have been interested in the scent. It's like 50 degrees out all day today. Tomorrow it'll be 65, day after it'll be 65, so they should be flying. Today they haven't done much of anything, so they're all at the bottom. There's some condensation in that hose, probably from the rain we got today. They're all on the bottom, still alive, crawling on top of each other. It's been some time, guys. You can see there's just a skeleton crew. I think the issue is they don't like building on the plastic, so I might try and integrate some wood rails into there. We'll see what happens.
So here are some of the key takeaways from Jake's experiment in bottle beekeeping. The fatal flaw was the temperature dropped too low, and the simple solution to this was to insulate the beehive and monitor the temperature with a remote sensor. Additionally, the humidity got too high and the condensation was very negative for the bees in the short term, but also that level of condensation would have been unhealthy for the bees in the long term. This also could be corrected with insulation, more ventilation, and a sensor monitor. Not fatal to the hive, there was not enough space to support the hive. This meant that the bees would have found a new home and rejected this one and left anyway. And although plastic is not necessarily a bad design decision, even Jake stated that he thought the PLA with the epoxy was part of the reason for the flight of his bees. And though certainly not detrimental to the health of his bees, the design was suboptimal. This is part of the learning process, and of course all the videos in this channel and in our construction videos show a more optimal way to design your bottle beehive. I applaud Jake's effort at bottle beekeeping. In no way am I trying to criticize his efforts. I encourage you to build your own bottle beehive system based on our construction videos on this channel.